the foundation works alone, that's a $97 million is what we spend on the foundation works, what we see there. This excludes the cost of reimbursing or compensating these companies who were located there.
The indication is that if you add those, then it will mean that the outstanding payment will be another $58 million if you add those.
I think, Dr. Zaato, how does all of this strike you? Because we're looking at the list of buildings. Judges' bungalows demolished, and we have that we put on the screen. Mali ambassador's residence demolished. Shraj deputy commissioner's residence demolished. Judicial training school demolished. Scholarship secretariat was demolished. Passport head office was demolished. Comsys IT Systems Limited building was demolished. And then the Waterstone Realty apartment complex, that's what I remember as well, was demolished. They took us to court. And then now we're getting to know all of this detail. Dr. Zaato?
Yeah. Oh, thank you very much. What I have said when it comes to these issues of investigation is the same thing I'm going to say again and again. And this is one thing that me and Solomon, you and I always agree on. I will never sit here or sit in the media and try to justify misuse of public funds. I will never sit in the media and say when the state investigative bodies or even the state's cohesive bodies are doing their legitimate work, that they shouldn't do it. I will never say that. If I believe or if I think that people's fundamental human rights are being abused, if I believe that people, the bail process is being weaponized, I will say it. If I believe that the investigative or cohesive positions are weaponizing their processes as a form of political equalization or victimization, I will talk about it. But the fact that state institutions have the power and the right to go out there and investigate this, and that includes the National Cathedral. So yes, I am happy that there are investigations going on, there's an audit going on. We've been promised some actions by the minister here. Yes, let everything go on. At the end of the day, any man or any woman who in the name of God, in the name of the Lord, misuses or abuses public resources or public money, that man or that woman should be made to face the Lord. They shouldn't wait for heaven or they shouldn't wait for judgment. I believe that. Look, I would never ever. I am sitting here today because of religion. I'm sitting here because of Catholicism. I'm sitting here because I attended a very good Catholic primary school, St. Gabriel's Schools in Tumu, one of the best schools there. I'm sitting here because I attended one of the best secondary schools in the whole country, St. Francis Xavier Junior Seminary. I saw what the Catholic Church has done and done to my life.
Hey, so yes, is better.
Which okay. Which Charles, Master.
Oh, no, it's okay. Yeah,
don't go there.
No, it's all right.
St. Francis Xavier Junior Seminary, Lumen Splendid. We should let our light shine. As you can see, I'm doing that right now. You see? So look, as I said, do that. So for me, no. As I said, I'm not an auditor. I don't understand these figures very well. Let it be. If criminality is exposed, criminality is done, let the legal process take its course, let people go to court, defend their innocence or their guilt inside there. I am not going to sit here and be an apology for any of those processes.
Right.
But I also want us to look at something then. The government has inherited this project. We've talked about this hold for 8 years, and legitimately so. Now this hold now belongs to the government. It is now, yes, it's part of the assets and liabilities you inherit when you win power. What are you going to do with it? I still believe, if I was the president of Ghana, I would still build a national cathedral. Because I still believe that we have a national cathedral. The thing I would have done is to see whether we can make it a more of a multi-purpose national cathedral. One that attracts tourists. I've been to Rome. If you enter almost every cathedral in Rome now, there are no prayers there. Almost all of them are tourist sites. You will see ordinary tourist sites. People visit Rome just because of tourism sites. It's possible to have a multi-purpose cathedral where you can use some for conferences, you can use some as tourist sites, you can do that. In other words, we now have a hole. What can we do to make sure that that hole starts to pay for itself? That hole, it must have a value. The government can choose to close it down forever. The government can choose to just fill the hole and rebuild the things that are demolished. Whatever the government decides to do, my hope and prayer is that by the end of 4 years, we'll sit back and say, okay, this hole, the government has done better for this hole, and that this hole has given us a better value compared to what had happened. If we all do that, then all Ghanaians can say, thank you, Jesus Christ. What I'm praying and hoping is that the value and the status of this national cathedral will be better next year, next 2 years, so that we can come and say, so that at the end of, let's say, the 4 years of His Excellency President John Mahama, we will sit and say, we have now added value here. We've now used it for something. As for it being a priority or they know, who determines what is the national priority? Who determines? And as we said, whatever the president used to do with this, he is determining what the priority is. And so we must always get that clear. Somebody has to say, this is the priority. Somebody said building a cathedral and using it for religious purposes was a priority. Now, it cannot be. So when the president decides, and I'm hoping that it is used to a better use, and as I said, I will still go for the cathedral. I will still hope that we build a cathedral, and I will still hope, because
not with public funds.
Why not? I'm still for it. If you can use public funds, we've used public funds to build things in this country that have turned out to be income generators. If you go to the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum, it was built with public funds. It's now generating money.
I see.
So for me personally, I'm telling you what I personally believe. I believe that, look, build a cathedral, but you make it a fun of multi-purpose cathedral. You can have a cathedral that have other things that will invite tourists. And I've just given an example.
All right.
Have you ever been to Rome? You will see. In fact, there are some cathedrals you go inside. It just is the edifice. People come there, and the Rome is one of the most visited places in the whole world, precisely because of its religious artifacts and religion. So you can do that.
Okay.
That is my personal view. I'm not saying anybody, but the point I'm trying to make is this. At the end of the day, we need to know, and I hope and pray, my hope and prayer is that 4 years down the line, when we come and sit here, if we are alive and we sit here, we can look back and say, okay, we took a hole that was almost, let me say, hopeless, or a financial hole.
Black hole.
Financial black hole. But that today, we have transformed that hole into something more sustainable, something more financially included, something that is beneficial to us.
Okay, thank you.
If we can do that, or if we are able to do that, then we have said that we have turned a bad situation into a good situation. But if at the end of the 4 years, we cannot say that. If at the end of the 4 years, we cannot say that value has been added to this project, that, let me say, a hopeless project has been revived, and its fortunes fundamentally tend to something good, then we will have failed.